Look, I know how this sounds, but I need to write this down because the police won't take me seriously, and I'm starting to feel like I'm losing my mind. 3 weeks ago, I upgraded to a new phone. My old iPhone 11 was still in decent shape, so I figured I'd make a quick $100 on Craigslist instead of trading it in. I factory reset it, wiped everything clean, and met this guy named Marcus at a Starbucks downtown. He seemed normal enough, mid-30s, business casual, paid in cash. The whole transaction took maybe 5 minutes. That should have been the end of it. The first text came 4 days later. It was from my old number, the one I'd just sold with the phone. Thanks for the memories. I stared at it for a solid minute. My first thought was that Marcus was messing with me, maybe found some old photos I'd forgotten to delete. But I'd been thorough. I'd checked twice before meeting him. Every photo, every message, every app was gone. I typed back, "Who is this?" The response was immediate. "You know who this is." My stomach dropped. I called the number. It rang 4 times, then went to voicemail. My own voice saying, "Hey, this is Jake, leave a message." I'd forgotten to change the greeting before selling it. I hung up and blocked the number. Problem solved, right? Wrong. The next morning, I woke up to a notification, a text from a different number, but the message made my blood run cold. "Blocking me won't work, Jake. We're connected now." This time there was an attachment, a photo. It was taken from inside my apartment, my living room specifically. The angle was from near my front door, facing the couch where I'd been sitting the night before, watching Netflix. I lived alone on the 4th floor. All my windows were locked. I checked every room, every closet, under the bed. Nothing. Nobody. I called the police. They came, looked around, took a report. The officer told me it was probably someone I knew playing a prank. He suggested I change my locks and be more careful about who I give my address to. But I'd never given Marcus my address. We'd met at Starbucks. I was sure of it. The texts kept coming. Different numbers, always at night. "I can see you changed the locks. Smart. You look tired. Are you sleeping okay? I like what you've done with the place." Each message came with a photo. My bedroom at 2 a.m., my kitchen counter with my coffee mug from that morning, my bathroom mirror fogged up from my shower. I stopped sleeping. I'd sit on my couch with a knife, watching my door, checking my windows every 10 minutes. I installed cameras, 3 of them, covering every angle of my apartment. That's when things got worse. Last Tuesday, I got a text at 3:47 a.m. The cameras are a nice touch, but they can't see everything. I checked the camera feeds on my new phone. Nothing. Empty apartment. Just me on the couch. Then another text. "Look behind you." I spun around. Nothing there. Just my kitchen, dark and empty, but my heart was hammering so hard I thought I'd pass out. The next photo came through. It was me, on my couch, holding my phone, taken from behind, from exactly where I just looked. I ran out of my apartment. I stayed at my brother's place for 3 days. The texts followed me there. "Running won't help. I'm not in your apartment, Jake. I'm in your phone." That's when I realized something that made me want to throw up. Every message, every photo, they were all being sent from my old phone numbers, the one I'd sold. But the photos, the angles, they were taken from my new phone, the one in my hand. I checked my new phone's photo gallery. There were hundreds of photos I didn't take. Me sleeping, me eating, me in the bathroom, all time-stamped over the past 3 weeks, all saved to my cloud, automatically syncing from somewhere. I'd signed into my iCloud on my old phone before selling it. I thought I'd signed out during the factory reset. I was wrong. But that doesn't explain how someone knew to look, how they knew to use that access, how they knew where I lived. Yesterday, I got a text that made me write this post. "I'm not Marcus, Jake. Marcus bought the phone. But I was watching you long before that. I've been in your cloud for 8 months. I know everything about you. Every password, every contact, every place you've ever been. And you'll never find me because I'm everywhere you are. I've changed every password. I've deleted my cloud account. I've smashed my new phone and bought a burner. But this morning the burner rang. Unknown number. I answered. It was my voice, my exact voice, like a recording. "You can't delete me, Jake." Then it laughed. My laugh. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to trust. Every device feels contaminated. Every account feels compromised. I'm writing this from a library computer, but I'm terrified that somehow they'll know. If anyone has experience with this kind of thing, please help. I don't think I'm safe anymore. And I don't think this is just about the phone. I think I sold something I can never get back.
The drip started the week after Mara left. Not a dramatic flood, just a steady, tiny leak under the kitchen sink that made every quiet minute feel louder. I let it sit for a while because I was exhausted from work and because fixing anything in that apartment felt like admitting the breakup was real. I posted a one-line Craigslist ad. Handyman needed, small job under sink, cash tonight. Ben replied within an hour, available, $60. Ben. He texted when he was at the door. He had a canvas tool bag, a faded baseball cap, and a practiced neutral smile. He called me man the way people do when they want to be casual and not pry. He worked fast and clean. He tightened a corroded nut, replaced a washer, and muttered about people who over-tighten and strip the threads. He hummed to himself while he worked, the sound of someone who undoes what's broken for a living. He took the cash, fished a folded thermal receipt from his wallet, and handed it to me. The receipt had the business name printed, Ben's Home Services, a charge, and below that an address, 421 W. Kingsley Avenue, Unit 2B. The unit number was handwritten. "Keep the receipt, warranty on labor," he said, shrugged his bag over his shoulder, and left. I shoved the receipt into the junk drawer with takeout menus and appliance manuals. The leak stayed fixed, and I stopped thinking about the guy in the cap. 3 weeks later, there was a thread in the neighborhood Facebook group about an assault at 421 W. Kingsley. Someone said an elderly tenant had been attacked during a robbery. Comments were messy, wrong names, blurry photos, people trying to add details. A neighbor posted that a handyman had been in the building the day before and left a receipt on the counter. The description, canvas bag, cap, matched the man I'd paid. My stomach dropped. I went to Kingsley that afternoon. Unit 2D smelled faintly of lemon disinfectant. A man named Tomas sat on a folding chair beside a hospital bed propped with pillows. He showed me a bruise blooming purple near his temple and held a folded thermal receipt between his fingers. It was the same receipt I had, same curl, same smudge by the corner. "He fixed the sink yesterday," he said. "Left this and said he'd come back if it kept leaking." We compared details like two people realizing they'd both touched the same small, trivial thing. A woman from down the hall, Leela, told us the detective had been through earlier and asked if anyone had been contacted by a handyman recently. A doorbell camera from the second floor showed a man in a cap and a canvas bag at 6:15 p.m. walking away. The footage was grainy but ordinary, a guy leaving like anyone leaves after doing a job. The detective took statements and looked at the receipt. "This looks like a pattern," he said quietly. "Quick in-home repairs, receipts with a printed address that leads somewhere else, and then someone returns while the tenant is alone." He asked whether we'd called licensed services first. Most of us hadn't. Most of us preferred cheaper, faster fixes. Over the next week, more people posted similar stories. A sink fixed, a receipt left on the counter, a man seen walking away with a canvas bag. Someone found a Craigslist ad that vanished after a single reply. Someone else mentioned a van with painted-over logo. The police impounded a van and found a stack of thermal receipts inside. Same printed address, different handwritten unit numbers. They found a canvas bag with a strap nicked in the corner and a thermos with old coffee. They asked me to come identify whether the bag matched the one my handyman carried. It did. The strangest part was the normalcy of it. The man had done useful work. He'd fixed leaks for cash and left a tiny paper proof that he'd been there, as if he were building an inventory of trust. I was useful, remember me. That receipt, once trivial, became a connector between strangers who suddenly found themselves tied together by the same small object. They charged him where they could, but the legal fixes felt inadequate. The receipts were evidence, the bag was evidence, but the harm was mostly an erosion of trust. I stopped using Craigslist for repairs. I started calling licensed companies and paying more. I learned to notice small things, how a man folded a receipt, the nick on his bag strap, the way he said, "Keep the receipt," like a casual line that could be a signal. Months later, I still keep the receipt in an envelope with my insurance paperwork. Sometimes at night I take it out, hold it between my fingers, and feel that odd shame of someone who let a stranger into his home for something small and ordinary and almost lost the sense of ordinary in the bargain. The leak was fixed the night Ben left, but the lesson lasted longer. Ordinary kindnesses can be ordinary for good reasons, and ordinary people can do ordinary things that you wished you'd watched more closely.